Well, good morning, New Spirit family. It is so good to be here with you for this week's devotional, and as always, hoping that this video finds you safe and blessed in the Lord. I was out here this morning and just enjoying this beautiful sunrise and reading God's Word and praying, and I came across this passage that I reflected on this morning, Matthew chapter 18, verses 21 to 22, where Peter comes up to Jesus and asks him, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times? And Jesus answered, I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. In some versions, it could be 70 times, 7 times. Now, Peter thought that he was going to really impress Jesus with this question, because in the rabbinic teachings, the idea of forgiveness was up to 3 times. So when Peter comes up to him and says, how many times must I forgive? He doesn't take the rabbinic teaching. He doubles the rabbinic teaching and adds 1, not 3, but 7 times. Probably fully expecting Jesus to be impressed with this and saying, wow, Peter, you've really extended the level of forgiveness. But rather, Jesus really surprises Peter with this response. No, I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 or 70 times 7 times, indicating that there is no number. That what Jesus is saying to us is, don't take count. Don't keep count of the times that you forgive someone. Simply just be forgiving. Be forgiving because God is always forgiving with you. So how can you ask forgiveness from God if you don't learn how to forgive others? Now, I was meditating on this passage, and that's, I think, simple and clear enough. But then the Lord helped me to realize something. When we hear this passage, many times we're thinking, okay, this means that when different people offend us, we should be willing to forgive everyone. Or especially if we're in a relationship with a certain person, that person may continue to offend us or anger us or discourage us, especially with people that we see on a daily basis, maybe our children or our spouse. And so we can really see the need for this teaching with people that we're constantly engaged with every day, whether it's a coworker or a family member. But then I began to realize this passage also applies not only to individuals who may consistently disappoint us, but also to a particular sin. And here's what I mean by that. I was meeting with a young man this week who was sharing with me that he has had trouble forgiving his spouse for a particular sin that really wounded him years ago. And he told me, he said, Pastor, I struggle because I know I've already forgiven her. So why does this sin still keep coming up, and why do I still have to deal with this? And I remember telling him, because just because you forgave it at that time and you gave it to God doesn't mean that you don't still have to wrestle with this and learn to forgive it every day after that. And I think that's what this passage can also mean, because it is true that many times people in our lives may continue to disappoint us or hurt us, and we have to be forgiving fellows. We have to learn to forgive people that disappoint us, because that's what God expects from us, because he constantly has to forgive us. So we have to be gracious to others. But I really think also it means that there are times in our life where we are struggling to let go of a particular sin. Maybe somebody really deeply wounded you, somebody really hurt you, and you say to yourself, I've already forgiven this sin, but I'm still struggling with it. What should I do? I want you to remember this verse, that in the same way that Jesus tells Peter, I tell you not 7 times, but 77 times, 70 times 7, or 77 times, that you can apply to that same principle. That you can tell yourself, okay, Lord, I know I've forgiven this, but I have to forgive it again today. And maybe again the day after that, until finally I don't have to forgive it anymore. For some of us, there are some wounds that require persistent forgiveness. And if we can apply this concept, especially to those deeper wounds that we've experienced in life, I think it will help us to learn and understand how we can overcome and cope with those deep wounds that we sometimes may have trouble forgiving. And just remember, as difficult as that may be, there is no forgiveness that is sweeter than the one that God gave for us. And so I know this may be difficult for some of you out there with certain difficulties and wounds that you have to forgive. But if you will practice this, the Lord will bless you. I hope that this message is an encouragement to you. And until next time, my friends, God bless you.